The NFL has just leaked the 2024 script, and I got it right here. Welcome in another episode of the Seth Floyd Show. Again, live from my office today, just like before. Had some time today, thought I'd crank it out at lunch, this video, and it's a good one. First, please like the video, subscribe. Like always, you know what to do. Make my dream come true. Full-time content creator, YouTube, that'd be awesome. It's free to like, it's free to subscribe, it's free to leave comments. You guys are the best. Thank you for doing that. Man, good one today. The script for the 2024 season has leaked. I'm telling you, I've got it. I've got five predictions that I see happening in this season, okay? Now, some of them are more bold than others, and I want to know what you guys think of them. So here we go. First, number one, Mahomes misses the AFC Championship for the first time in his career. Now, before you guys fly off the handle like you did when I said that the Chargers were going to win the AFC West, that's more bold than this prediction right here. First off, guys, like Tom Brady didn't make the AFC Championship every time in his career, okay? It is obviously more, it's not surprising when Mahomes makes it. Okay, obviously it's more surprising to see the Chiefs have an early exit. But guys, what do you think is going to happen? To me, the hot take is assuming that Mahomes is going to make it every single year, just like clockwork. Guys, this is the NFL. Mahomes is as good as they come. And I've said this before, he will be the GOAT when it's all said and done. Okay, he will be the GOAT. He's a combination of, he's going to have all of Tom Brady's accolades and accomplishments. Plus, he's got the talent of Aaron Rodgers. He's like a mix of those two, and he's going to be the greatest of all time, okay? But it's still the NFL, okay? There's two things I know for sure. Every year at this time, number one, every year, you will be considered crazy. People will call you crazy if you say Mahomes and the Chiefs don't even get to the AFC Championship game. Number two, what I know is it actually is crazy to assume that he's going to go every single season. Guys, all it takes is one bad game in the divisional round. All it takes is, there's a lot of luck that goes into football that people don't realize. If you've never coached, if you've never played, like, you don't realize how much luck there is to winning. Now, of course, the best teams win more often than not, okay? But the teams that win the Super Bowl generally have a lot of luck as well. And at times that luck shifts and it shifts back to the other way. The Chiefs have won back-to-back Super Bowls, okay? I'm not saying they haven't earned it, because they have. They've been the best football team for 2 straight years. But what I'm saying is, I expect to see some of the luck bounce the other way for them, okay? I expect to see an aging Travis Kelce, as I outlined in my AFC West video. I expect some of these things to not go Mahomes' way. Now, they had a lot of bad things go their way last year. They didn't have any receivers that could freaking catch the football. Okay, Rashee Rice came on later in the year, but they had a lot of that. But my question to you is, what did they do to get better? What did they do? Hollywood Brown, maybe? Like, I guess that helps. It certainly helps. But if you think teams view the Chiefs as better because of Hollywood Brown, you're crazy. Okay, Xavier Worthy is a nice piece, very unproven. Okay, if I had to guess, Xavier Worthy is going to be a nice player in the NFL, but I think he's going to take a year or two to really get comfortable and find his niche, because he's a small-bodied guy, very fast, yes, and he does play physical. I'll give him that. At Texas, he was a very physical receiver. Again, I'm a Texas fan. I'm more on Boise State stuff today. I'm a Texas fan. I watched a lot of Xavier Worthy. But to think that he is just going to come into the league and light it up, like, I would pump the brakes on that. I'm not sure that a rookie receiver with his body type, okay, is going to just light the league on fire in the first year, okay? And then we know the Rashee Rice speculation. As I argued with a Chiefs fan on my last channel, mention has not come down yet for Rashee Rice, which to me is crazy. They have video of him doing it. He pled guilty to all the charges. What is the NFL waiting on for suspending him? As he's trying to tell me he's not going to be suspended until next year, what I'm saying is that is not not for sure. The NFL has not said that yet. And I've even read some stuff that says the Chiefs might be without him the second half of the season. They might drop the hammer halfway through the season. Again, there's no need to take so much time on this. They could just suspend him. He's pled guilty. You have video evidence. Like, I don't understand. Maybe if I'm wrong, if there's something about it that I don't know that's hanging it up, please get in the comments and tell me, because it should be a pretty simple thing for me, but whatever. Anyway, the point is that the Chiefs didn't do a ton this year to make me feel like it's just a lock. Okay, on top of they've won back-to-back Super Bowls. It just feels like, man, this is a year I could see them slipping up. By the way, if you're slipping up is you losing in the divisional round, great. You can chill about coming at me like I'm being disrespectful or something stupid like that. That's all I'm saying, okay? They're going to lose before the AFC Championship game to a Bengals team, to a Texans team potentially. I'm not sure about Buffalo. I think the Jets are going to be pretty strong as long as everybody's healthy, which is a big if for that team. I'm just saying, that's number one. Number two, Daniel Jones is going to be replaced by Drew Lock by week 10. Okay, so after week 9, going into week 10, I think Drew Lock gets the nod. And is this even a hot take? Is this even like oh my gosh, what is he saying? Seth Floyd, you've gone crazy. No, I don't think so. And if you think that I'm crazy about this take, I want you to do a video of you defending Daniel Jones, because nobody defends Daniel Jones. Like I'm on X a lot. That's like my go-to, or Twitter. Okay, and I'm in the NFL world on Twitter. Okay, and holy crap, you cannot find anyone defending Daniel Jones, even Giants fans. Okay, I've watched Hard Knocks. The scouts don't defend him. They tried to replace Daniel Jones in the draft. They tried to trade up and get Drake May. Okay, now I'm pretty lukewarm on Drake May, but like that's what they were trying to do. I think they made the right call by taking Malik Neighbors. I think he's going to be a freaking stud. But Daniel Jones, guys, is not him. He is not him. In his season, in his 2022 season, now credit where credit is due. I'm such a big, like, get a playoff win. Like, that's important to me. Can you play good enough to seal the deal in a playoff game? And I don't care. I don't think wins are 100% a quarterback stat, but it's like a 75% quarterback stat. Your quarterback has to contribute. There's not very many games, especially playoff games, where a quarterback doesn't contribute at all. In fact, is like hurting the team, but still the rest of the team overcomes it and wins a playoff game. That doesn't happen very often. Okay, maybe Trent Dilfer with the Ravens that year. Like, you could talk me into that. Brad Johnson with the Bucks, like, he probably had some bad playoff games. I'm just saying, they are the biggest single player that makes the biggest the influence on the game. So anyway, so credit to Daniel Jones for winning a playoff game in Minnesota against the most fugazi 2 seed of all time, or were they a 2 seed? 3 seed of all time. They went 13-4, most fugazi. Yeah, because the Niners were the 2 seed that year. Anyway, guys, that season though, that's the season that earned him the contract that gave him this outrageous amount of money. Okay, listen to these numbers. Okay, if you know, you know. Okay. That year he had 15 TDs, 5 interceptions, and 3,200 yards. Now, he had a bunch of rushing yards on top of that, okay? And as Ravens fans love to point out to me, that's like a huge part of the position, I guess. All right, but how come no one defends Daniel Jones like that? Obviously, that was a joke. Don't come at me, okay? That was a joke. But my point is guys, no one believes in Daniel Jones. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 3,200 yards. That's the season he produced that earned him this massive contract. Credit for him. I'm not even knocking him that much. Like, good for him getting that money, making the most of his situation. But golly, what a bad decision. It led to Saquon Barkley leaving. It probably led to some other dudes. They're leaving. All I'm saying is when you get through week 9 and the Giants are 2-7, maybe 3-6, and they're last place in the division, good luck. Especially, guys, a side note of this is Washington is going to be a lot better. Okay? When I say a lot better, I'm not saying necessarily that they'll make the playoffs, but I think they're going to make it interesting. Okay, I think Dan Quinn is proved when he was a head coach before that they were getting to the playoffs. He went to the Super Bowl and they lost, but he was getting to the playoffs. Okay, I think Ron Rivera was way done in Washington. Okay, I think that they had no offensive line. And it was just all around, that organization was a mess. Well, I think Dan Quinn is going to bring some stability, whatever you think of him, whatever you think his ceiling is, they're going to be better, is all I'm saying. You've got Jaden Daniels, you've got Cliff Kingsbury, who's going to help Jaden Daniels. I think they've got some weapons, okay? I think they got some weapons, and they're going to be improved. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be like a 7-10, 8-9 team. And if you think the Giants are winning 7 to 9 games this year, I got news for you, okay? They're not. They're not going to. And Daboll is not going to just sit by while the Giants go 4-13 or whatever, okay, because of Daniel Jones. He's going to get to that point, and he's just going to say, screw it, I'm putting in Drew Lock, who I don't think Drew Lock is a franchise quarterback. Do I think he can do everything Daniel Jones can do? Yes. I think they're going to punt on the season after 9 weeks, and they're going to say, look, we at least got to find out what we got with Drew Lock. And then next year, we will figure the rest out. But we've got to get somebody here before Neighbors starts demanding a trade in his rookie year, okay? That's what I think. Now, why week 10? I think they're going to want to get through half the season, okay? They're going to give Daniel Jones that opportunity. Week 10, they play the Panthers. So I think that's a perfect time to throw in Drew Lock and be like, there you go. The last thing they want to do is let Daniel Jones play against the Panthers, get a win by 30 points because the Panthers are so bad. And then they feel like stuck between, a rock and a hard place. What do I do? I think going into that game, they're going to give Locke the keys, and then they get a bye week. So to me, that's a perfect time. Get Locke in there. He's going to have the keys. Let's get out with a victory. Confidence from the fans. There's going to be a little buzz like, oh, maybe this dude's the real deal. Then we have a bye week to really get him locked in for the next week after that. Also, week 9, they play Washington. And you know what's going to look bad is if things have not gone well for the Giants, and Washington in week 9 beats them by double digits, which is a possibility, that to me will be like, okay, we are clearly the worst team in the NFC East. Daniel Jones is not getting it done. We have to make a change. And Daboll is going to feel like, I got to make a change because I'm coaching for my job. 2023 was really disappointing after a huge 2022 season. And, man, I got to do something coaching for my job. So that is my point. Also, like I said before, Locke is no slouch. He won that game against the Eagles for the Seahawks last year. I don't think he's a franchise guy, but I think he's got a higher ceiling than Daniel Jones probably. I think he could be a bridge guy if you're going to draft. I think the Giants are probably drafted into the top 5, so they're probably going to get a quarterback. But if you didn't feel comfortable starting a rookie right away, I think Locke is like an okay piece at a lot cheaper price than Daniel Jones. Number 3, the Texans are going to make the AFC Championship game. I believe in C.J. Stroud, and I believe in DeMeco Ryans. I believe in DeMeco Ryans so much. I think one thing that shifted for me in the past however many years is how important your head coach is. You always know it's important, but I think the head coach is more important than we've ever given them credit for in the past. And DeMeco Ryans is it. He came in and got all of those dudes to believe right away. And of course it helps that you have C.J. Stroud, who looks the part in every single way. He looks like he's going to be a franchise guy. He says all the right things. Another thing I like about him, he does not seem like a knucklehead. He seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders, like really wise and mature. He just has a good presence about him, man. And that's the kind of leader you want from your quarterback. I love that dude. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to take the jump. I don't think he's going to have a sophomore slump. I don't believe in the AFC South. I think Anthony Richardson is a huge wild card with the Colts. I know that last game came down to the Colts-Texans. But that was Gardner Minshew. I don't know. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust. But one, he's already got injury history in the NFL. A couple injuries before being out the whole season. Okay, it wasn't like a freak thing. He missed a couple games and then came back and then he was gone the rest of the year. That worries me. Okay, that worries me. Not sure what to make of all of that. I think they probably should have re-signed Gardner Minshew, but whatever. They were priced out of it. I get it. So I'm very skeptical about the Colts. The Jags, guys, I am so skeptical of Trevor Lawrence. And here's where I come with that, okay? And then I'll move on because this is about the Texans. But everyone throws out the Urban Meyer year. Great. Rightfully so. Great. Throw out the Urban Meyer year. I get it, okay? Then the next year with Doug Peterson, he had a good year. They won a playoff game, really cool, won the division. But guys, what happened last year? What the heck happened last year? Look, I'm telling you, no, the first year, I've seen in the last 3 years, then 49ers have played Trevor Lawrence twice. Both games, he's looked terrible, terrible. Now, the Urban Meyer year, like, again, we say can't blame him, but he doesn't ever look like he's pushing the ball down the field. Not against the Niners, at least. And I know he does. I probably shouldn't even say that because I'm sure there are games where he does. But, like, when he has the games where I've watched Trevor Lawrence start to finish and he's playing like a superior team or a team that is locked for the playoffs, okay, he looks very hesitant, unsure of himself, does not want to push the ball down the field. People are going to clip me and whatever, say like, oh, look at this highlight, look at this highlight. I get it. I'm not saying he doesn't ever do it. I'm just saying there's been a couple times where he has not shown moxie and grit and like a fire and determination to bring his team back. Like, he looks timid and worried, and last year was pretty eye-opening for the Jags. Now, they started real hot, and it was like, oh man. In fact, the game the Niners were going into Jacksonville last year, the Jags were like the hottest team in the NFL. I think they were 6-1, 7-1, something like that. And the Niners just put it on them. And they were at home. And the game ended like 42-3 or 38-3, I don't know, something like that. And so I'm not a Jaguars believing person. I don't believe them to win the division. Okay, they're going to have to show it to me because their momentum is so bad right now. And the Texans' momentum is through the roof. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is the AFC South, I don't think is very tough, which means I think the Texans are going to be able to chase that 3 seed or even the 2 seed. I don't think they're going to be the 1 seed, but they're going to avoid being that 4 seed like they were last year, which means then you have to go into the 1 seed if you win that first playoff game. If you can be the 2 or the 3 seed, you get an easier matchup in the divisional round. Heck, and if you're the 2 seed, that divisional round is a home game. So I think it's real possible Texans are a 2 seed. They end up getting, I don't know, the Jets or whoever in the second round. Like, I don't know, but they'll play it at home. Tons of momentum, and I think they are headed to the AFC Championship game. I wanted to get Super Bowl. And say they were going to go to the Super Bowl. But I think they're still another year away. I think there's a couple heavy hitters in the AFC that are going to make a name for themselves this year. Obviously not the Chiefs. I've already predicted they're going to be having an early exit. And I think my Super Bowl winner is going to come from the AFC. Haven't done that episode yet, but we will. Okay, number four. You guys are going to call me a homer. Okay, this isn't about the 49ers, but you're going to call me a homer or a hater, I guess is what I should say. The Seahawks are going to finish last in the NFC West, and Geno Smith at some point in the season is going to get replaced by Sam Howell. Guys, I'm not a Geno believer. I firmly believe he is the worst quarterback in the NFC West. I do. Production would say that. No one's touching Matt Stafford. I think Stafford is the best quarterback in the whole NFC. I mean, Brock Purdy might not have the physical skills, physical traits that you want, but what about that other thing you want? Wins. He's got some freaking wins. He came in as a rookie, won a ton of games. Last year, followed it up with an even better season. He's won 4 playoff games in his career. Got wins, guys. He's got wins. I'm sorry he doesn't have the strongest arm. I'm sorry he's not the fastest guy in the world. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. So dumb. I would take Kyler over Geno because I think they have similar, like, production. So if I'm going to have, like, okay, they both have one bad playoff loss, and that's, like, the extent of it, like, at least Kyler in multiple seasons has looked like a guy. Geno Smith has one good season under his belt. One good season where you were like, okay, this guy is legit. Kyler has a couple. Kyler also has, I just was knocking physical skills, but if it's a tiebreaker, like, yeah, I'm going to take the guy with physical skills. Kyler's got a better arm. Kyler is faster, like, moves around better. Like, I'm going to take Kyler. But if you want to fight me and say Kyler's worse than Geno, fine. Like, fine. Based off production, they've had similar careers, whatever. Geno, though, he's had one good season, guys. And credit to him, that was, like, really impressive. Okay, 2022, okay, had a resurgence year when they all thought the Seahawks were going to be terrible after the Russell Wilson trade. Great. I think last year wasn't a train wreck, but golly, if Seahawk fans, if you are like, yes, Geno is the man, he's going to take us to the promised land, I think you're delusional. Delusional? I'm not delusional. Now, maybe Geno will follow it up and he will have another 2022 season, but history tells us that's not going to happen. Okay, I'm just going off of history. Okay, that's just what it is. Sam Howell is no slouch, just like the Drew Lock thing. Funny enough, they switched places, and I'm predicting both quarterbacks are going to step up and end up being the starters at the end of the year. Sam Howell, guys, last year, again, I don't think he's a franchise guy, but Sam Howell last year at one point was leading the league in passing yards. Okay, they had one of the worst offensive lines. No one was sacked more than Sam Howell. Okay, I don't think. I just said that, and I should have double-checked that. But all I know is he had an astronomical amount of sacks. Okay, he's like running for his life every play. Sure, he had a lot of turnovers because he's just trying to pull something out of his butt and make something happen. And Ron Rivera had basically given up. Like, they were a train wreck top to bottom in Washington. Okay, I think that Sam Howell can do everything Geno can if you give him a capable offensive line and like a decent situation. Like, I really do. I think they're in the same category. Geno has more success, so credit to him. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think Sam Howell's that bad. My last thing, Mike Macdonald, okay, was great for the Ravens, but is far from a guarantee. He might be really good. He might be. You've heard me say this kind of thing on other videos, okay? If I'm going to make a prediction, like, especially with a new coach, like, I get really hesitant because I've never seen it before. You know what I have seen before? I've seen great coordinators get hired as head coaches at times, and then they stink. Okay? Looking at you, Arthur Smith. Fantastic offensive coordinator with the Titans. Great run game. Goes to the Falcons. Becomes a head coach. Now there's way more on his plate. He has way more to think about, and he just sucked, man. They were terrible. Okay? I'm thinking of Brandon Staley. Okay? He had a really quick rise to the top, but he was a great defensive coordinator for the Rams. Okay, blew the doors off of people. Was great. Was like the next great young mind defensively, and then golly, could not get it figured out with the Chargers. Why? Because it's different. It's different. When you're the head coach, you have so much more to think about. When you're the head coach, you are in charge of building the culture, creating the culture, having the vision for the culture, and just enacting it, making it happen and creating it. And as a coordinator, your job is not to come up with the culture. Your job is not even to come up with steps to make the culture happen. Not really. Your job is to do what the head coach tells you to do to contribute to the culture, essentially. Okay, it's way more than just that, but culture cannot be overstated. And in my eyes, if you're a bad head coach, it's because you cannot create a good culture. Now, Mike Macdonald might be a pro at that. He might be. But you don't know. It's not a guarantee. So Seahawk fans that are like thinking they're going to win the division, thinking that all their problems are fixed, like, you don't. It is a wild card. A new head coach in combination with Mike Macdonald. New head coach and Mike Macdonald in combination with Geno Smith. Okay, that to me spells like a lot of unknown, a lot of questions. I think Geno's the worst quarterback in the division. And let's talk about the Cardinals for a second, because in my eyes, I think most people agree that's who they're fighting for third with. Okay, the Cardinals have a head coach who came in and built a culture. The Cardinals were a tough out last year. Their arrow is trending upward, is what I'm saying. Okay, their arrow is trending upward. They had some big wins. They beat the Cowboys with Josh Dobbs. Now you can slam on the Cowboys all you want, but they were the 2 seed. They beat the Cowboys with Josh Dobbs. Okay. They beat the Eagles on the road when the Eagles had a ton to play for. Okay, they played in some really tough games. Okay, I think the Cardinals are trending upward. I don't think they're a playoff team, but they added Marvin Harrison Jr. Trey McBride on the offense is going to continue ascending. Like, he was coming on real strong. I just think they've got a lot of good pieces, and they're heading in the right direction. And I'm out on the Seahawks this season. Now, if I'm wrong, it's because of 2 things. One, Geno has a resurgence year. Okay, he has another 2022 season. It's in the realm of possibility. I just would bet against it because history says he's not going to do that. History says that was an outlier. That plus Macdonald is the real deal and just gets it done. Okay, and has a great culture and gets guys to believe, and that's possible. But the more important part of that is Geno Smith. If Geno Smith does what he has done most of his career, the Seahawks are going to struggle, and they're going to. It's going to be tough. is what I'm saying. Okay. Now I could be wrong. I guess, I mean, your argument could be, Geno was the guy last year and they still won 8 games, 9 games. Like, that's true. That's true. But here's what I'll say. McDonald has no loyalty to Geno Smith. He wasn't here in 2022. He has no loyalty to him. This is his team. Okay. So if the Seahawks start slow, okay, let's say they're under 500 after 8 games. Let's say they're 3-5 and the Cardinals are 4-4. And all of a sudden you're looking at the writing on the wall, or after 10 games and it's, man, we're 4-6. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's in the realm of possibilities. Okay. He has no loyalty to Geno Smith and he's going to like, screw it. He's going to look at this and say, we got to figure out what Sam Howell is. Okay. How pumped off him are we actually? And it just is what it is. We'll play for 2025. Okay. My prediction. We'll see. Lastly, number 5, Dak Prescott leaves the Cowboys after this season and he signs with the Raiders in 2025. Now, this is cheating a little bit because this is kind of after the season, okay? But I think Dak's going to leave, first off. I think the Cowboys have left that door open, and the closer they get to free agency of next year, his agent's going to be in his ear and be like, look, man, regardless of what you think of Dak Prescott, he is going to be the biggest free agent ever to hit the open market because he's a quarterback, which is the most important position. And there's never been a quarterback in his prime, key word there, in his prime, to hit the market like that. I can't think of one. You could tell me Kirk Cousins, but people slam dunk on Kirk Cousins all the time. So I don't know. I would take Dak over Kirk Cousins. I think most people would, but I guess I could be wrong. At the least, they're like pretty neck and neck, and Kirk has gotten the bag his whole career. If Dak hits the open market, guys, you're going to have teams bidding for him. I don't care what any of you say, okay? But quarterbacks are, there's like 12 really capable quarterbacks in the world, and Dak is one of them. There's like 12 really capable ones. There's like 3 or 4 more that are like, man, we could have him for a couple years, but we're still trying to replace him. There's like 12 quarterbacks that you're not actively trying to replace on your roster, okay? Dak is one of them, which means these teams like the Panthers, the Raiders, maybe the Saints are in that mix. Those are just kind of the ones. The Patriots, depending on what happens with Drake May, I know they're all in on Drake May, but if Dak hits the open market, they might be like, well, screw it. We're in this position. Like, you just don't know. The Broncos, maybe Bo Nix sucks and the Broncos are just all in on him. And Dak is going to get between $65 and $70 million a year. Yes, I know how absurd that sounds. But here's the difference. The only reason that some of these quarterbacks aren't making that much right now is because they don't hit the open market. There's no one else bidding against them. Now, it can screw you over, like when other quarterbacks get new deals and the market goes up. Like, that's what's happened with Dak because they didn't sign him last year. They didn't extend him last year. They probably could have gotten him at a much cheaper price point. Well, Dak is going to get close to free agency, and his agent's going to be like, look, man, you're probably going to get $65 to $68 million a year if you hit the open market, because you're going to have multiple teams bidding back and forth. And if all you care about is the money, which I don't know if it is, but if it is, you're going to get a pretty penny, okay? You're going to get a pretty penny. And I think it's going to be Vegas. I think Vegas is interesting for a couple of things. One, I'm sure players would love to live in Vegas. I'd rather live in Las Vegas than South Carolina. They're not in South. Are they in South Carolina? No, the Panthers are in North Carolina, right? Charlotte, yes, North Carolina. I'd rather live in I'd rather live in Las Vegas than North Carolina with the Panthers. I'd probably rather live in Vegas than in Boston with the Patriots that have no talent around them. At least in the Raiders situation, who they're desperately going to need a quarterback because they didn't draft one. They have Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. Like, he's got Devontae Adams to throw to. He's got Max Crosby on the defense. Maybe they pick up a running back and, like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, the Raiders are, like, not a laughingstock anymore, because regardless of what you think about Dak Prescott, you signed Dak Prescott to a big deal. He's your quarterback for the next 5 to 8 years. You're done with this, like, hodgepodge. Let's bring in Jimmy Garoppolo and tell ourselves that he's going to play like 2019. I think that's where he's going to go. Now, if he goes to the Raiders, like, that's fun. That's good for the NFL. That will be fun to watch. The AFC West, to me, instantly becomes like must-see TV. Instantly becomes probably the most competitive division in football. You've got Mahomes. You've got Herbert and Harbaugh, who I've already told you how high I am on Herbert and Harbaugh. Okay, especially Harbaugh. You would add Dak Prescott to Antonio Pierce, Devontae Adams in Las Vegas. Okay, We'll see with the Broncos. If Bo Nix can be something, then great. Then the Broncos are going to be legit too. But I'm hesitant on that. But yeah, that's what I think. And I think Dak is probably going to be happy. He's going to be like, fine, I had fun being the Cowboys quarterback. We had some success, clearly not the success we wanted, but I am not going to just hold out or take less money to just be the Cowboys quarterback when you guys kind of hodgepodged me around, yo-yoed me around. Like, I'm just going to go to a team that's willing to pay me a lot of money, and we have some pieces. I can throw to Devontae Adams for the last couple years of his career where he's really effective. And those are my final 5 predictions. That is the 2024 NFL script. Okay, let me know what you thought. Let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. Always like the video. Please subscribe. I don't know. What else do I got for you? I'm not sure. Is Brandon Ayuk ever going to get traded? I've heard for 5 days now that it's a lock, that the deal is already done. They're just like not announcing it for some reason. That makes a ton of sense. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not sure. I think the longer this goes on, the more likely it is he's just going to stay with the Niners. Because clearly the Niners haven't agreed to anything. Clearly they're just waiting it out. Hopefully someone can get in Brandon's ear and be like, look, dude, let's just come back at 26 a year, 27 a year. Like, what's the difference? Hopefully, I'm not knocking him for wanting to get his money. But if it was all about the money, he would have gone to the Patriots, where there was a report that said $32 million a year was what they were going to offer. Who knows? We'll see. I'll give you an update video. Whenever that happens, we'll talk about it, okay? I got to get back to work. My lunch is over. You guys have fun. I'm out.